Imagine going to college for 4 years, right? You rack up tens of thousands in debt.
Oh, yeah, which is stressful enough on its own.
Exactly. And then you step out into the workforce, only to find that the bottom 3 rungs of the career ladder that you were promised, well, they've just been deleted.
Completely wiped out.
Yeah. There is no junior desk anymore. There's no entry-level data processing role where you just kind of learn the ropes. And that is the reality facing young adults right now in 2026.
It's a huge shock to the system.
It is. I'm Mike Chen, a career strategist and, full disclosure, a parent of 2 teens, so I am watching this happen in real time.
Yeah.
And it's terrifying.
I completely agree. And I'm Jordan Ellis, a workforce futurist and youth entrepreneurship coach.
Welcome to today's deep dive. So the map that you probably used to build your own career, it's just completely obsolete now. Today is all about finding a new compass.
Which we all desperately need.
Right. So our mission today is to unpack a highly practical source document from PitchSuccess. It's their series finale playbook called Human Advantage, a playbook for the AI-enabled future.
It's a fantastic resource.
It really is. The goal here is to cut through all that anxiety surrounding artificial intelligence and hand you a concrete, actionable roadmap. Especially if you're a millennial or Gen Z parent of a teenager trying to navigate this. But honestly, it's for your own next career steps too.
Yeah, because the ground has already moved beneath our feet. I mean, we really can't look at this as some abstract sci-fi thought experiment anymore.
No, not at all. It's happening right now.
Exactly. The PitchSuccess playbook is anchored entirely in the current landscape. We're dealing with the immediate aftermath of massive AI integration across, every single sector.
Okay, let's unpack this, because the numbers in this playbook, they hit hard. But I actually noticed a strange contradiction in the data right off the bat.
How?
Well, on one hand, the World Economic Forum is projecting 170 million new roles by 2030, with 92 million displaced.
Right, so that's a net gain.
Yeah, a net gain of 78 million jobs. But then at the same time, we have SignalFire reporting that entry-level hiring at the 15 biggest tech firms just plummeted by 25% over a single year, from 2023 to 2024.
Yeah, it sounds completely backwards, doesn't it?
It does. How are we gaining jobs while junior hiring just falls off a cliff?
So the crisis we're facing isn't a lack of total jobs. There are jobs. It's an unprecedented mismatch in skills.
A skills mismatch,
Yeah.
okay.
AI is aggressively eating up the highly structured, repetitive tasks that historically defined that entry-level work.
The grunt work, basically.
Exactly. And there was a massive Harvard study that analyzed 62 million workers, and it confirmed this exact erosion of the bottom rungs.
62 million workers. Wow.
Yeah, it's undeniable data. Meanwhile, Harvard Business School research shows that post-ChatGPT, the demand for those structured roles dropped by 13%. But, and this is the key, the demand for analytical, creative, and interpersonal roles surged by 20%.
Oh, wow. So the jobs are there, but they require a completely different entry-level currency.
You hit the nail on the head.
Which really explains the absolute panic we are seeing on college campuses.
Oh, it's palpable.
Yeah, the Lumina Gallup study from 2026 found that nearly half, 47% of college students have considered switching their majors because of AI.
And a lot of them actually are doing it.
Right, 16% already pulled the trigger. They see the grunt work vanishing because, for generations, the implicit deal was you graduate, you do the basic coding or the preliminary research, and in exchange, you get mentored and move up.
It was an apprenticeship model, really.
Yeah. It's like an escalator where the first 3 steps have just been removed. How does a young person even get on the ride? If a machine handles the grunt work instantly, how does a 22-year-old prove their worth?
I mean, that is the multi-trillion-dollar question right now. And human resources executives are acutely aware of this bottleneck.
I bet they are.
Yeah, over 90% of HR chiefs, according to the Society for Human Resource Management, anticipate even heavier AI integration this year in 2026.
90%. That's practically everyone.
Exactly. Globally, the numbing barrier to business transformation is no longer technology infrastructure. We have the tech. The barrier is the skills gap.
Because they can't find people.
Right. Corporations simply cannot find humans who know how to operate effectively above the algorithm.
Okay, so if the algorithm is doing all the heavy lifting on data and generation, we really need to talk about what the human is actually supposed to do.
Which is exactly what the source material gets into.
Right. The PitchSuccess document argues that instead of trying to compete with the machine, we need to double down on the things that code fundamentally cannot replicate.
The uniquely human element.
Exactly. They identify 6 unique human capabilities. And I want to look at these not just as a list, but as an ecosystem of, like, survival skills.
I love that framing, survival skill.
Yeah. So let's start with the baseline of how we process the world: insight and adaptability.
Okay, so insight in this context is the ability to form original perspectives drawn from lived, messy human experience.
Messy being the key word there.
Totally. Look, AI can process a billion data points a second, but it just averages that data out to predict the most likely next word or outcome. It doesn't have intuition.
Right. It doesn't have a gut feeling.
Exactly. It can't look at an unquantifiable, emotionally charged situation and make a sudden, counterintuitive leap to a creative solution. Only humans do that.
You know, I look at the difference between AI's data processing and human insight, like the difference between a calculator and a financial advisor.
Oh, that's a great analogy.
Yeah, like a calculator will give you a precise number based on what you type in. But a good financial advisor looks at the bags under your eyes, hears the anxiety in your voice when you talk about your kid's college tuition, and tells you what to actually do with that number based on your real life.
Because they understand the context.
Right. AI is the ultimate calculator, but employers are absolutely desperate for the advisor.
And that advisor needs the agility to change course when the environment shifts, which is where adaptability comes in.
Which is huge right now.
Massive. The World Economic Forum cites adaptability as the fastest growing skill demand globally. It is deeply rooted in a growth mindset, the belief that your intelligence isn't fixed.
Because things are changing so fast.
Exactly. If your entire job can be automated on a Tuesday, adaptability is what allows you to reinvent your value proposition by Wednesday.
Wow. Tuesday to Wednesday. But it's true. Okay, so we have the internal processors, insight and adaptability. But having a great idea in your head doesn't matter if you can't translate it to other people. Which brings us to the next cluster of capabilities, which are all about human magnetism, presence, clarity, and connection.
These are so critical.
Here's where it gets really interesting, though, because I have to push back a little here. The playbook treats presence as a trainable capability.
It does, yes.
But isn't presence just, natural charisma? Like, you either walk into a room and command it, or you don't. How do you train that?
Well, see, you're conflating presence with extroverted charisma. They aren't the same thing.
Okay, explain that.
In a professional environment that is completely saturated with AI-generated content, deepfakes, and endless screen fatigue, presence is actually a biological anchor.
A biological anchor.
Yeah, it's the discipline of intentional focus. Code doesn't have mirror neurons. When a human being sits across from you, maintains steady eye contact, actively listens without checking a device, and projects a grounded calm make here, your nervous system reacts to that.
Oh, I see. It calms you down.
Exactly. It builds immediate trust. Anyone can be trained to harness that biological reaction. It's not about being the loudest person in the room. It's about being the most authentically engaged.
That makes a lot of sense. I see the distinction. And that biological resonance plays heavily into the next one, which is clarity and connection too.
Oh, absolutely.
Because AI can write a perfectly structured 5-paragraph email, right? Or draft a speech in 3 seconds. But clarity is about reading the room.
It's the real-time adjustment.
Yes, watching the person in the back row cross their arms and adjusting your tone right then and there to win them back. It's the difference between just delivering information and actually persuading people to move.
And persuasion requires empathy, which leads right into connection. Connection is about relationship building. It's understanding the subtext of client pain points that, frankly, never make it into a technical spec sheet.
The stuff they don't say out loud.
Right. And we have hard data proving this is the ultimate career moat. Google's internal research repeatedly demonstrates that their top-performing employees succeed primarily because of these relational skills, not technical genius.
Really? Google, the ultimate tech company.
In Google, the phrase emotional intelligence is showing up nearly twice as often in job descriptions that involve working alongside AI.
Because if the machine writes the code, the human has to build the trust.
Exactly.
Okay, which leaves us with the final capability, and I think it might be the most counterintuitive one in a corporate setting: confidence.
Yes.
Specifically, the willingness to pitch ideas that might completely fail.
Which feels scary, but AI is mathematically designed to be safe. I mean, hallucinates occasionally, but its core function is to average out human knowledge into a safe, statistically probable output.
It plays it safe.
Always. It does not take wild, courageous leaps into the unknown. When machines handle all the routine, predictable work, the massive professional rewards go to the human willing to step forward with conviction and champion an unproven, risky idea.
So these aren't just soft skills anymore. I feel like calling them soft completely diminishes their value.
It does. They are survival skills.
Right. In 2026, these are hard currency.
Yeah.
But this theory leads to a massive practical problem in my mind.
Which is?
Well, if I'm a 16-year-old junior in high school, how do I actually prove to a college admissions officer or hiring manager that I have clarity or adaptability? I mean, I can't just type really good at reading a room on a standard resume. No one's going to believe that.
No. And a text-based resume is essentially dead anyway.
True.
Think about it. If an AI agent can optimize a resume and generate a flawless cover letter in 3 seconds, that document proves absolutely nothing about the applicant's actual abilities.
Right. It just proves they know how to prompt an AI.
Exactly. And this is where the PitchSuccess playbook pivots to practical action for students. The core directive here is portfolios over paper. Students need to build a capability portfolio that provides undeniable visual evidence of their real skills.
Okay, so what does an artifact in that portfolio actually look like? Are we talking about, like, a sports highlight reel, but for meetings?
Kind of. It's documentation of the process, not just the polish.
Okay.
So, an artifact of clarity might be a recorded video of the student defending a project thesis before a panel of adults. An artifact of adaptability might be a documented peer review where they received really harsh critical feedback.
Oh, that's tough for a teenager.
It is, but followed by the revised project showing exactly how they integrated that feedback to improve. They are building a vault of evidence. But to even know what to build, they have to start by getting a baseline.
Right, you need to know where you stand.
Exactly. Step 1 is having the student take the 5-minute PitchSuccess assessment to get a baseline measurement of those 6 capabilities.
Because you can't improve what you haven't measured.
Exactly.
So once they have that baseline, the playbook tells students to actively seek out what it calls stretch experiences.
Right. Deliberately putting themselves out there.
Yeah, to put themselves in environments where they are the least experienced person in the room, volunteering for the scary project. But there is a massive prerequisite to taking those kinds of risks, and it's something I wouldn't have immediately connected to AI survival.
Financial literacy.
Yes, financial literacy. Wait, why is budgeting listed as a career survival skill?
Because it is the foundation of career agility. Look, Gen Z currently has the lowest financial literacy of any generation. Only 38% can answer basic financial questions correctly.
38%? That's terrifying.
It is. If a young adult doesn't understand budgeting, credit, or compound interest, they will live in a constant state of financial precarity.
Right. You know, it functions exactly like a safety net for a trapeze artist.
Oh, that's a good way to look at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You cannot take a high-flying leap like joining a risky startup, launching your own venture, or moving to a new city for a stretch role if you are terrified of hitting the financial floor.
Yeah.
When you're financially insecure, you make conservative, fear-based career choices. You cling to the safe job, which, ironically, is exactly the kind of job AI is currently automating.
Spot on. Financial independence buys the runway to actually utilize your confidence and adaptability, and it buys you the freedom to choose your education strategically, too.
Which is another huge point.
Right. We are seeing a dangerous trend of students frantically trying to guess what the AI-proof major will be. They're chasing credentials out of sheer panic. The playbook advises shifting entirely from a degree focus to a capability-building focus.
Because the hard skill that is AI-proof today might be fully automated 6 months from now.
Exactly.
The goal isn't to hide from AI, is to work alongside it. Students need interdisciplinary programs that actively force them to build long-term human value.
Right. They need to ask different questions when choosing a school.
Yeah, like, does this program force me to collaborate? Does it require me to build a portfolio? Can I use an AI tool to generate the raw data and then apply my own core insight to turn it into a leadership strategy?
But honestly, that level of strategic thinking is a massive burden for a teenager to carry alone.
Oh, completely.
The reality of this shift falls heavily on the parents, which brings us to the parent playbook. For the Gen Z and millennial parents listening, the rules of the game have entirely changed.
They really have. And it goes against every biological instinct we have as parents to step back and let our kids struggle.
It's so hard to do.
It is. We grew up with a very linear formula, right? Get a good degree, land a solid job, keep your head down. Our instinct is to map out that path for them and clear away all the obstacles.
We live in the era of the snowplow parent.
Yes, Exactly. We just want to plow the road for them.
Yeah.
But the data is telling us that jumping in to fix their problems is actually harming their career prospects.
It absolutely is. If resilience and adaptability are the ultimate career survival skills, you cannot build them without managed adversity.
Managed adversity. I like that.
Right. Coaching a teenager through career uncertainty means resisting the urge to smooth the path. When they fail a test or get rejected from a program, the parental instinct is to intervene, maybe even call the school.
We've all been tempted.
But the playbook requires parents to act as coaches, not fixers or snowplows. You have to ask them, what did you learn from this? How are you going to adapt your approach next time?
The ability to recover from a public failure is the most valuable skill a young adult can carry into the 2026 workforce. So what does this all mean for daily life? It's like taking the training wheels off a bike.
Yeah, perfect analogy.
You have to let them wobble and, you have to let them fall over on the grass a few times. If you hold the bike upright for them forever, their internal balance system never develops.
Right, and parents don't need a formal curriculum to build that balance. You can foster these 6 capabilities right at the kitchen table.
Give me an example of that.
Well, the dinner table is the primary classroom for human capability. Ask your teenager to present an idea or defend a controversial viewpoint from the news, and then respectfully challenge them on it.
Oh, that's good. That builds clarity and insight.
Exactly. Give them real financial responsibility for a portion of the household budget to build that safety net we discussed. But more importantly, you have to model what you value.
Because they are watching everything.
Always.
They're watching how you handle stress when your own industry shifts. They're watching how you manage your finances. Your lived example is the loudest lesson.
It really is. And the playbook offers a great pressure release valve for parents here. Use the PitchSuccess platform to create a shared vocabulary.
How so?
Sit down, have your teen take the assessment, and take it yourself. Look at your training paths together. Instead of the anxiety-inducing question, what are you going to do with your life?
Which every teen hates.
Right. Instead, you can have a collaborative conversation like, hey, how can we both find an opportunity this week to work on our active presence?
That reframes the existential dread into a tangible, measurable project. I love that.
It makes it manageable.
Now, we've covered the individual, the student, and the parent, but we cannot ignore the systemic side of this.
Right. The schools.
Yeah, teenagers spend the majority of their waking hours in schools. The final section of the source material outlines the educator and counselor playbook.
This is a vital piece of the puzzle.
But how do institutions systematize this focus on human skills when they are already stretched to the breaking point? I mean, are we honestly asking already overworked, exhausted educators to invent and teach a completely new curriculum on top of state mandates?
Not at all. It is not about replacing the core curriculum. It is about changing the lens through which student output is evaluated.
Okay, explain what you mean by changing the lens.
Educators need to seamlessly weave capability tracking into the programs they are already running. For example, a history teacher doesn't stop teaching the Cold War. But when the student gives their final presentation, they aren't just graded on historical accuracy anymore. The counselor or teacher uses a capability rubric, perhaps integrated through the PitchSuccess platform, to evaluate how well the student maintained eye contact, how they handled a difficult question from the class, or how effectively they projected conviction.
Ah, I see. So the history paper tests the knowledge, but the presentation generates the artifact of presence and clarity for the student's portfolio.
Exactly. The school just provides the framework to capture it.
That's brilliant. And career counselors can shift from just administering those traditional aptitude tests, the ones that just tell a kid what industry they might like.
Right, which are pretty outdated now.
Yeah. They can shift to capability assessments that show them where their unique human edge is sharpest.
It does require educators to stay current, though. Perhaps committing to reading quarterly reports from the WEF or the Stanford AI Index, so they actually understand the landscape they are preparing students for.
That's a fair expectation.
But ultimately, it is about advocacy. Educators must advocate for holistic preparation, ensuring that technical fluency with AI tools is always paired with emotional intelligence and financial literacy.
Has to be both.
Right. By partnering with capability training platforms like PitchSuccess, schools can give students a trackable development path that complements their existing counseling programs.
It really takes the entire ecosystem, doesn't it? The student, the parent, and the educator all rowing in the same direction.
Oh, it absolutely does.
So, just to recap the journey today, the bottom rungs of the traditional ladder are gone. AI has permanently claimed the structured, repetitive tasks.
They aren't coming back.
No. But this isn't a dystopian end-of-work scenario. It is an evolution. The premium on deeply human skills, insight, presence, clarity, connection, confidence, and adaptability is higher today than it has ever been.
Because the technology will only become more seamless and capable, what will remain scarce and therefore immensely valuable is the human being who can connect deeply, adapt instantly, and lead with empathy.
Exactly. So whether you are a student realizing you need to build a portfolio of visual evidence rather than a paper resume, or a parent trying to act as a coach rather than a snowplow, or an educator integrating these tools into your classroom, the path forward is clear.
You just have to start.
Right. Take the critical first step today. Go to PitchSuccess.com and take the free 5-minute assessment to find your baseline. Find out exactly where your human capabilities stand. Because the core philosophy of Pitch Success summarizes this entire era perfectly. AI agents can build, but only you can lead.
I love that quote. And I want to leave you with one final thought to ponder as you navigate this new reality.
Let's hear it.
We spend so much time worrying that AI will eventually perfectly mimic our structured, flawless, highly predictable output. But if perfection becomes cheap and automated, is it possible that our uniquely human flaws, our unpredictable leaps of logic, our raw vulnerability, and our willingness to try something that might spectacularly fail will actually become the most highly valued assets in the professional world?